Hey guys, so today I will show you how to improve your 3D renders dramatically just with Photoshop. So this is the raw render, how it came out of Octane render. And yeah, this is how it looks after Photoshop. And the Photoshop post-production part is so important. And I see it always, a lot of people, especially beginners, they just render something out and just post that raw render. But you see how you can achieve pretty fast this kind of result. So let's dive in. So yeah, this is our Photoshop file here with all of those different render passes. And yeah, to make sure that you learn the most and you can follow along, you can download this whole Photoshop file in the link in the description. So download it, follow along, learn the most. So my first big advice is work with references. And I just took here this reference from DJI, and because yeah, this is the way you learn the most. And people ask me so often how you just started a few years ago with 3D rendering and all that stuff. How can your renders look so crazy professional? It's because I work always with references, and my version is a little bit different, but it's heavily inspired from this one. And why? Because you can only learn from the best ones, right? And that pushed me so hard to get this light right, to get the colors right and all that stuff, and the lighting, especially on the drone, and here the camera reflections and all that stuff. And without a reference, that wouldn't be near that quality, because yeah, you just learn the most from the best. So I always work with references. But yeah, anyway, so that was here my raw render result. But you see, it looks already pretty good, but it's very flat. It's missing like this magic, and that's why I'm using for every product rendering or render everything what I do with graphics, I always include Photoshop. So let's start. And first of all, let's just bring in here, we have the post-processing as a separate part. So let's bring it here on the top, make this post-processing here to mostly lighten or screen. And you see, we have like our glow, which came from Octane, but we want it separate in the past, so we have much more control over that. So what I firstly want to do, because if you see, we have too much of this glow everywhere, and I want to clip it a little bit. So I will create an adjustment layer and levels and clip it just to the layer beneath. So we have something like that. And here just drag the blacks a little bit more towards the whites. And you see we are clipping it. So it's not, yeah, just overblowing everything. And that looks already much better. So here, preview. And yeah, maybe we can play a little bit with the mids to boost them. And here with the white, we can just boost the brightest parts a little bit. And yeah, here this place is a little bit overblown in the render, but this is okay for now. So perfect, we have something like that. You see already a little bit of magic, but we will improve it much, much more. So first of all, yeah, I'm just looking at the image and I want to see, yeah, what is wrong. And you see here this water reflection, especially this left one, is definitely too strong. So what we will do is we will go here to our post-processing layer and create just a mask. Because now if we have a black brush with 100% opacity and you see, and we paint over, then we mask it out. So what we have to do, create a very, very soft brush. So here just hardness to 0, and also just press 0.5. So it's just opacity 5%, and just paint here a few times over. And you see, we are getting details back and it's not so crazy overblowing. Alright, so this is for now, so that you just have a little bit of magic from the beginning. But now let's get to the interesting part. So we have here an ambient occlusion pass. And what you can do mostly with the ambient occlusion is put it to multiply, and it darkens everything. But here we don't need it, so I will just delete it. Then just with Alt click through all of those layers. We don't need irradiance. And one thing I want to tell you regarding here material and object ID. So a lot of people, what they are doing, for example, if they just want to select here this body, then they go here to select and color range and just pick it, and here play with the fuzziness. So let's do that. But even now, so if we create just a mask, you see it's always super messy and you never get really clean results. So I'm never using here object ID and material ID, but so when I'm rendering it out of my 3D software, I always render out here the cryptomat passes. So yeah, if you want a video on that, let me know. Otherwise, just check some other videos. And here, for example, I can control click and the crypto material node body, and you see we have a selection. And yeah, if I just create a mask just to show you now, you see the selection is absolute 100% perfect. And yeah, it just looks as it should look like. So here you see it's perfect. And let's just do it, I don't know, maybe, for example, you want to select, let's find something to select. For example, here, those few parts here. So just control click at the right crypto node and here just mask it, and you see you have a perfect selection and you can work with that. So yeah, I absolutely love cryptomat passes. And yeah, let's bring everything back here. So firstly, what I want to improve is just the whole general product for now, because I want like this, the most important thing about our product here or rendering is definitely here this camera module from the DJI, and I just want it more punchy. And yeah, everything else I want, it should still be the focus, but I want it a little bit less prominent. So what I have to do is somehow to emphasize here this whole camera thing and everything else a little bit less. So for that, the reflection passes are pretty cool. So if you bring it here to the top, below the post-processing, and you activate it, and you see it looks something like that. And now you can go again go through all of those different blending modes. And the screen one is okay, because you see it's a lot of stuff overblowing, but we will mask it out in a second. But you see, if you just look here at our camera, it just gives a little bit more of punch, and here it gets everything a little bit brighter, and we just see our details a little bit. And yeah, obviously we don't want to go with 100%, but yeah, so let me show you how we will do this. So first of all, activate it and create a mask and press Ctrl I. So it's black. So now if we paint with a white brush and 100% opacity, you see we can bring it back. And you see, even now it's already, and I just painted it over, and you see it's already much better, but we will do it, of course, in a much more professional way. So we will go and we have to find here our camera module. And yeah, just click with control click on those different crypto material, or just rename them even better. And here, this is this part. So control click. So this material and this camera module is selected. Yeah, I've used the same material also for those wings. Shouldn't do that, but that's okay. And now, while it is selected and we are in our black mask, so now again, if we paint over, you see we are affecting only that where we have our selection ongoing. So this is perfect. So we reduce our brush size and press 10 or press 1, so it's opacity 10%, and we just paint here a little bit over. And we will make just this whole camera module on the left a little bit brighter. And yeah, so let's see. So you see, it's, if we activate it and deactivate, this whole camera module just gets a little bit more punchy. So this is perfect. Control D to get out of there. And you see it's already much better. It's a little bit more punchy. So I like this. Perfect. So now also here this glass reflections, they are a little bit too dark and maybe I want to change a little bit the color. So again, let's just drag this denoise beauty down and call this beauty OG, so we are not messing with the original, and just yeah. So control click, and again let's find our glass here, and we should have here our glass crypto node. So control click, and you see only our glass is selected, and this is perfect because now we can go to our beauty path here and just create a adjustment. So in that example, yeah, hue and saturation maybe. And you see we will create automatically a mask. So if we play here with the saturation, you see it's only affecting here our glass. So it's just absolutely perfect. So let's bring that to 0 and maybe play a little bit with the color. So let's play a little bit with the saturation. I just want to boost it a tiny bit. So you see you just get a little bit more of this green. And let's go back and again just select it. So you can just select the mask and select again the denoise beauty, and let's call it glass saturation. And the glass is selected, and just go and create a curves adjustment layer. And let's call it glass curve. And here maybe we will just boost a little bit the brightness and make the darkness a little bit darker, so we get a little bit more for contrast. Yeah, you see I like that already a little bit more. So now you see, yeah, we just get a little bit more punch in the glass. So this is fine. Also we have here a reflection direct. So again, just alt click here on the reflection on the eye, and you see we get just like this cool warm, so the warm color on the right. And maybe I want to include it a little bit because yeah, the light is coming mostly from the whole right, but on the product, the right side is in the warmth. So let's bring that up here. And first of all, let's control click here where the line is. So it's only affecting here our beauty. It's anyway because we have the mask, but just to keep everything a little bit cleaner. So we have here our reflection direct. So let's activate it and let's go through the different modes and see if we can work with something. Or maybe this one, it's a little bit too strong. Yeah, maybe we can go here with color dodge, you see, and just this whole right side will get a little bit stronger. So maybe we can just give it, yeah, just, I don't know, 10%, just to emphasize a little bit that more. But okay, that's fine for now. So let's continue with this whole module or whole drone. I just want to give it a little bit more punch. So the whole body and the wings and just a little bit the camera. So just with a few curves adjustment layers. So first of all, let's control click with shift and select just our drone. And you see we press control click here, we select this piece and the second one, so I don't really see what this is. So if I press control shift, we get this little plus icon. But then we are selecting also here this water. And if I want to deselect it again, because I don't need it, I just want to select the whole drone now, just press control and alt. So we can bring it deselected. So again, control shift, and let's go everything one by one. So you see, if we select this third one, yeah, better it's to name it. We select here this main body, and here also this one, and here this one, the glass. Here I see it's the water, the node glass, something that, and here, and the last one. You see, so just with control shift click, I selected everything. So now you see our whole drone is selected. So now again, we just go here to our denoise beauty and create, yeah, for example, a curves. So now you see we adjust only here our drone. So let's, yeah, like general contrast, I will call that. And let's just drag a little bit. So a little bit the brights, a little bit brighter, and the darks just a tiny bit clip it at the 0. So you see we give everything a little bit of light, because you see the whole environment is very, very bright. So we just need a little bit more light on our drone. Otherwise she is a little bit too dark. So you see just a little bit, and hold on a second. We will add the most amazing effects in a second. So yeah, this is cool. I like this. You see here a little before and after. So if we just compare it with our original render, here you see we are already at a completely different quality level, but we will do it even better. So now I didn't do it here in the original one, but just to show you, because it just came to my mind. So I have here some lens flares. So they are not included because they are bought ones, so on Adobe or something. And yeah, maybe let's take this one, and we will just bring it in and bring it to screen blending mode. And maybe you see already what I'm doing. And yeah, maybe I like this a little bit. So again, so maybe, what you can do is, oh, this is not even a bought one. So just make a screenshot just for practice purposing. So just make a screenshot, cut it out so you can use it then the same. So we are cheating a little bit. So it's in screen mode, and we have to clip it again, because you see it's just a little bit stuff around it. We could paint it also with the mask, but I just like to create a adjustment layer here, levels, clip it so it's only affecting that, and just drag the blue ones, the black ones just a little bit down, and you see we are eliminating all of the stuff around it, and the white one a little bit here to the left, so it's a little bit stronger. And now we have to change it. So let's first of all bring it here and Control T, because I want to make it a little bit thinner. Yeah, so cool, something like that. Yeah, just a little bit of cinematic effect. And go here and hue and saturation layer, and just make it also, here a greenish one, but not too green and not too strong. So yeah, we have something like that. You can play a little bit around with the position. Maybe also it's a little bit too big. So just a nice little effect. And here you see we have a sharp cut here. So just select it, press on mask, black brush, press B with, I don't know, 10% opacity, and just, or let's press 50, and just here with 50%, we will just brush it away. So you see, I'm not sure right now if it's like really what we want, but yeah, I like it. But yeah, let's do now the really cool, interesting thing. So first of all, you see, because we have such a light from the back, it has to glow a little bit in front of it. So you see, also here we have this kind of glows here because yeah, it's the cinematic effect. So first of all, and honestly, I don't like this light here, so let's undo it for now. So first of all, let's go back here to our post-processing and double click on the levels and make everything here in the mids a little bit stronger, and even here on the whites. So you see, we are just getting more punch. But now also you see this whole glow is also going a little bit here over the camera, but I want that the camera is very clean and not affected by this glow. So if you see it a little bit, you see this glow is just affecting here this front side. So we have to mask it out again. So we are here in the post-processing in our mask. And again, we have to go back down. So our mask of the post-processing is selected, and we go down to, I think it was this one exactly, and shift click to the glass. So you see again, our whole camera module is selected. And now I go, so that was everything selecting while we under mask, because now again, if we paint over here with 100% opacity, you see now the effect. So this is after and this is before. You see it's a little bit of affecting. So I just want with 10% just a little bit lower of this effect, because we will do something different. So yeah, you see it looks a little bit cleaner, this camera, you know, and we want the focus on our camera. But now let's create really some cool magic. So let's create just more glow in the cinematic around the other pieces, because they are for me not that important. So especially here, you see it's already a very strong glow. So here in the corners, and let's do that. So we go here to the top and create a new layer, and we go here to the red ones. And I want to bring a little bit more of red glowiness, you know. So we go here and we select just this red, and we bring this to the linear dodge blending mode. So now if we paint over with 100%, you see we are getting this red glow automatically, but of course it's 100%. So to make an awesome glow, a trick is to use different colors in different layers and focus it more and more. So let me just show you. So for now, just really press 0.2, so the opacity is 2%, and just with B, paint it here very big, just here on the left, on the right. Okay, let's go even around our camera. So let's press 0.5, maybe a little bit stronger. So really here, paint around. So here on the layer, and you see it already. You see, we are getting a little bit of this red glow, and I think this is really beautiful. So let's here, and also just with a very soft brush and opacity. Yeah, let's go even back to opacity 2 and just paint a few times. You see, so now we are getting the overall glow. But now let's do it a little bit stronger. So this is, yeah, the red. And let's go a little bit to the orange and make it a little bit brighter and create a new layer. Again, linear dodge. And this linear dodge, so now if we press B and for example just 50%, you see now we can get this glow. So you see it's like this golden sunny color, so it's beautiful. So again 0.5, so we are just 5%. Make it here very soft brush, so no hardness, and here just even less, 2%. And just type here a few times, here maybe at some interesting places. So here, yeah, let's go over the camera, why not? But mostly here, this part. So you see it's like this cinematic effect. It's like, I don't know, this background light is going through the drone. I don't know how to explain it. But here you see, I don't know how it looks on YouTube, but you should see it definitely. It's much, much stronger, and it literally looks golden, you know? And now we create again, so this one, let's call it orange, and this one we call yellow. And let's go again a little bit more towards the yellows, and just a little bit brighter, but not too much, because otherwise it will not look good. So again, press B, and here with 50%, yeah, bring it to linear dodge. You see now we get this yellowish, but I want it maybe a little bit more orange. Yeah, so yeah, exactly, something like that. And now really just with 1% opacity, very soft brush, just paint it here a few times, just where you want it. And yeah, just also where it's the brightest, you know? So don't paint, I don't know, here or somewhere, or I don't know, just where this is the brightest. So bam, you see? It's really beautiful. So now our drone is in this golden light in the background. So I really like that. So yeah, let's just again compare here with our original. You see, and yeah, this is a completely different level. And also I see this light here on the post-processing is a little bit too strong. So B and black brush and 10% opacity. Just paint it once over. Okay. Yeah, so I like that. We could definitely play a little bit more around with that. But now if we check out here our reference, obviously we have to do a lot of color grading at the end, but we have to make this whole background a little bit darker and also desaturate and just color grade. We will do it in a second in the camera raw. The absolute most important thing in Photoshop, in my opinion, for post-processing. But let's already do now something to darken the background. So we go here to our adjustments, go just to the top one. And again, let's select everything here from our drone, because this everything selecting. So our drone is, yes, you see our drone perfectly is selected. And because now I want to exclude it. So basically what I want to do now is create again a new adjustment layer. And here curves, and just make it darker. But now you see we're making the drone darker, but I wanted the other way around. So Control Z, here our drone is selected, and press Control Shift I for inverting it. And now again, we go here to our beauty, we go here to the top of our adjustments and just create a new one and make it curves. And you see we can make everything darker except our drone. So you see everything is darker, but I forgot to select the glass, so we can do it in a second. But let's do everything a little bit darker because I want a little bit more of a contrast. But I only look at the sky because we will adjust it here in a second. So yeah, I just make the background a little bit darker. So, but now you see it's too contrasty, especially here everywhere. It's just the blue sky I want to make darker because it's a little bit too bright. So now we have here our mask, and what I will do is just press G, and let's go here to the basics and select foreground to transparent. So now it's just going black to transparent because now we can just paint it over, and again, black is not showing the effect. So we don't want this adjustment on the ground. So with black, we are erasing it and we just drag it over here. And I really just want the sky. So you see here our drone and our ground is not affected, just here our background. And yeah, you see it's a little bit darker. And now what I'm gonna do is also change the color a little bit and desaturate. We could do it in camera raw, but let's do it now just to show you how amazing it is to work this kind of workflow. So we create a new hue and saturation layer, and we just copy this mask. So if we go inside the mask and we press Control A, so everything is selected, we press Control C and we press Alt click to the hue and saturation mask. So we are here and we can Control V and just paste the same mask. You could also delete it, but I just want to show it to you. And if we press again Alt click to the mask, we are outside. But here you see now, if we select our saturation, it's only affecting here our sky. So I will just desaturate it a tiny bit, or before we go it, I will saturate it more and go more towards the greens or cyan, something like that. And now make it a little bit desaturation. And now we see we can make it even a little bit darker. And yeah, this is the before and after. And yeah, I just like this color a little bit more, but we will adjust it in the camera raw a little bit more. And maybe what you could do, just an idea, because let me paint it and show it to you. So as you see, we have in the background a little bit of depth of field, and also a tiny bit here in the foreground, but maybe I want to make it just here in the foreground a little bit stronger, because here you see we have a lot of detail. So you see here in the reflection, and maybe I just want to make it a little bit more blurry, again, just to focus more on our product. So very simple. So we can take here our beauty and just with Alt click and bring it all over. I would do this always at the end because it's a little bit not distractive, but when everything is kind of almost final, before we go to our final color grading and adding all that kind of beauty. So go here to the top layer and press Ctrl, Shift, Alt and E. So here you see you just create a layer where everything is applied. And now right click to this layer and convert it to Smart Object, because if we bring now a filter and blur and Gaussian blur, you see we can blur it, but just blur it a tiny little bit. So yeah, and also we could do this with D-depth, but yeah, it's already then too much maybe for the first time. So let's do it here and we press OK. And now, because we, as you remember, we just want a little bit here on the ground, we create with Alt click a mask. So it's a black one. So now if we press G and we press X, so we have white to transparent, we can here drag with Shift a little bit of a gradient, but just a tiny bit. And now I want to bring the opacity a little bit lower. But so you see it's really just a very subtle effect, but yeah, I like that. All right, so this is basically it for now. So let's go to the most important part, but you see it's already a different picture, but we will do it even better. So let's go again to but let's add, I don't know, maybe we can bring this gradient. Oh yeah. Oh guys, this is amazing. So let's make it bigger and let's bring it here to the brightest part. And now again, hue saturation, and now just make it, like orangey, yellowish. Oh yeah, guys, you see, and we can play a little bit with the levels to clip it a little bit more and maybe reduce the opacity just a tiny bit from that lens glare. But now you see it's the cinematic effect. Oh, I love it. Not on the lenses, but in the background. Because now the lenses are still in focus, but we have this whole cinematic effect. Okay, all right. So let's go to the absolute most top layer. Press Ctrl, Shift, Alt, E to bring everything together. Right click Smart Object. So if we go to Filter and Camera Raw Filter, we can always come back and it's non-destructive. Perfect. So now let's start here with my favorite part. So we will just bring it to 33%. So it's pretty zoomed out. So we just have, or maybe 50%. Okay, this is fine. And let's start with the temperature. So I would bring it everything just a tiny bit more to the warm. So everything is more warm, and play a little bit with the exposure, but I don't want it here. Maybe we can increase a tiny bit the contrast. Yes. Maybe we can decrease a little bit the highlights, because here it's a little bit overblown. I don't like it, but it's okay for now. And play with the shadows. So this is just making the darks darker or the darks brighter. This is fine. Definitely bring in a little bit of clarity. You see everything gets, so you see you could go with this style. It looks very stylized or something, but it's too strong for me. So just a tiny bit and a tiny bit of texture and a little bit of vibrance, because saturation is making a little bit too artificial, but vibrance is a very smooth way to bring in a little bit more of color. So if you press P, you see before and after, and I like it. But now let's go here to the color mixer. And now we want to target here this blue greenish aqueous one. And if we go here to saturation, we have here, for example, so yeah, again, if you want a tutorial on that in depth, here hue, saturation, and luminance color mixer, super in depth. You can do basically everything. But for example, if you go to saturation and we target here our aquas and we bring it to 0, you see we are losing only here in the aquas the saturation. So also the same for luminance or brightness. If we go to aquas, you see we can only affect this one here. So it's super powerful. And what I want to do is go to the hue, and I still don't like the color. So I go here to the aquas and bring it more towards the green. I want a little bit of this greenish look, but not too much. And maybe here we can also play a little bit with the blues to something like that. And again, saturation, make the greens a little bit, luminance. Greens a little bit darker, and the aquas. You see, so P, yeah, it's just a little bit, yeah, but we will do it with a gradient even darker in a second, but just for now. And also here, if we go to the color grading, it's in the highlights, which tint of color we want to give, and in the shadows. So in the highlights with alt click, so we are just giving a little bit. So you see, if we drag it very strongly outwards, then the color will get in the highlights very orangey in this example. So I want it a little bit more orangey. And in the shadows, a little tiny bit of blue, because like bluish greenish, because the sky is blue. So the shadows will get a little bit more of a blue, and the highlights, they are brightened up from the sun. So they get a little bit more yellowish. So again, alt click and just add a tiny bit. Yeah, bluish one. Yeah, you see it. So yeah, maybe not on YouTube, but yeah, you can see it, but it looks already beautiful. All right. Then also let's go to the effects and add a little bit of vignette. Don't overdo. So I see oftentimes people do something like that, but it's really just a tiny bit. And we don't need really grain, or just maybe 7 or 8. Just to give a little bit of details. So press P and you see it's just a little bit punchy. So now let's go here on this patch, or what this is, I don't know. And let's bring it to 33%. And now I just want, like in, the reference just here, even less color and a little bit darker. So now we can create just a gradient, a linear gradient, and just drag it outwards and bring it a little bit down and don't affect our drone. So something like that. And now here, let's go to exposure. Bam. And now you see we are really affecting that as we wanted. Yeah. So now we just bring a little bit of exposure down. Don't overdo it. And a little bit here of saturation, you see. So yeah, that would be too funky. So I want just more color on the drone and on the sunlight, because many people would do something like that. So it's like a lot of colors and all that stuff, but you always have to think, what do you want to focus on, So something like that. And I also want the floor a little bit desaturated and a tiny bit darker. So we just create here add and a new linear gradient, and we drag it here with shift click. And we will make it just a tiny, it's already affecting the same. So, let's delete it. And I mean, you have to create a new mask. So create new mask, linear gradient. And again, just drag a little bit of a gradient. And you see now, if you make the exposure very down, you affect it very strongly. So I just wanted to make it a tiny bit darker, a really tiny bit. And a tiny bit less saturated. So it's again going more here towards this third here. So I like this. And now let's even make the camera a little bit punchier. So again, create new mask, but this time brush. And here you can adjust the size and like all that kind of stuff. And just paint a tiny bit here over our camera module. So just a little bit. And now if we go here to exposure, you see we can make it even a little bit, I don't know if you see it on YouTube, but we can make it here a little bit brighter. Yeah, so like that. And if you go here back and press P, you see it's pretty different. Yeah, and maybe I want a little bit, we go here to our edit tab, just a little bit more of a vignette. Yeah, so I like that. So perfect, press OK. And you see before and after, it's subtle, but it's definitely noticeable. And yeah, we could do some more thing here, maybe also crop it just here a little bit, something like that. But yeah, I think that's already taking a little bit of time. Oh yeah, that took a long. So yeah, guys, if you're also post-processing your product renderings, definitely let me know in the comments and what your workflow is. And if not, leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss it out and you learn a lot. And basically, look, that was our raw render, but look, it's a different picture. Yeah, it was pretty fast and I would spend a little bit of more time, but look, this whole cinematic glow effect, but it's not overdone, you know. Our camera module here, so just look at our camera module here. It's very clean and sharp and pointy, you know, but everything else here a little bit out of focus, everything dreamy, gloomy, and this is really beautiful. As you see, extremely important. I would really love to do a lot of Photoshop tutorials because yeah, I think I have some good skill and knowledge that I could share with you, and I just love it. Look, it's just really magic, you know? So let me know if you want to see that, and see you in the next one. Bye.